I would like to ask Tom Reiber, the chairperson of Pathways to Generosity, to come forward and share with you both this giving chart, this next step thing that they're going to be passing out right now, as well as his own personal story. Which do you want first? However God leads you, my friend.
So 36 years ago, Kay and I moved up to Portersville from the north side of Pittsburgh. And we had been members of Third Presbyterian Church in Shadyside, which is a big old Presbyterian church. And then for the community house on the north side, and that's actually where Peter came from to come here. We were looking for a church home, and first we went to Portersville Presbyterian because it's right across the street from our house. Way too conservative. Didn't ordain women as elders, didn't allow women to teach Sunday school past elementary. So we decided that isn't for us. Came down here, went to Park, and they sang the anthem by putting a boombox up on something and playing music and singing along to the boombox. And we thought, no, that's not for us either. Then we went to St. Peter's right down the street because Kay's father was a UCC minister. No, that wasn't for us. So we were thinking, geez, we're going to have to keep going into Pittsburgh to church. And we came here, and this was home. And we've been here for the past 35 years. Kim was our son, who's going to be 38 in 2 weeks, was 18 months old. Ann was born in this church. Both kids, needless to say, were raised here, and Kay died here. So we've tried during those 35 years to increase our giving every year, if we could. And we really tried to do that, and I think successfully did that. And I've lost my place. So David sent out a reflection a couple weeks ago and asked those of us on the team to, if we wanted to send out a reflection as well. And I chose to do that, and I'm going to read it because I suspect you, like me, get a lot of email that you just ignore. Or you look at the caption at the top and you ignore the rest of it. And it requires you to open it because it says more, and you just pass over, okay? So, part of it was the reflection on passages that Dawn has been sending to us every day for 30 days. We're going to have these reflections. And mine was, where do you feel imprisoned in your life? When you've recently succumbed to worry and or found it hard to rejoice, who are the angels who for you model a worry-free life of joy and gratitude? I focused on that last sentence, who are the angels? And now most of you know I was, when I wrote this, and it's now past, coming on the first anniversary of Kay's death. She struggled for years with a horrible addiction that I nor my children were able to convince her to go cure, to help, get help. And it took David to come to our house and sit down with her for her to admit that she was an alcoholic and that she should go get help. Which we did, and unfortunately it did not turn out the way we expected. And I'm not expecting to do this again in the second service because this isn't where I wanted to go. So, as a result of this caring community for 35 years, I decided to tithe some of the proceeds of the bed and breakfast that we owned and sold to help generate this stewardship campaign, let's call it. We haven't done a stewardship campaign, an organized stewardship campaign in this church for many years. And it was time we went back to that because we just keep getting ourselves in these deficit holes and digging it deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's nobody who's coming forward to say, I know how to fix this. So we needed to find some outside help to fix it. Hopefully that's happening. So Jackson, the first slide, if you would. So you got in the mail this week, at least I did, and unless you immediately threw it in the garbage, you did as well. And you may need to go home and pull it out, but you have it now in front of you. It was passed out. It's on the other side of the step chart. And that just is a reference for you as to what your income is and what percentage of giving you may want to consider. We are only asking you to take a consideration of what you think you can give. We're not making demands. There is no contract that you're signing. It's an estimate of giving. If you find yourself unable to give, okay, you don't. And hopefully you pick it up later, or you make it up at the end of the year, or however. Okay, next one. So this is a step chart that shows how many people, and you have this in front of you as well, we're going to fill these steps in, because this shows how many people in this congregation give for each one of those steps. The first one. No, that's not the first one. I'll give you the first one, which is 0. That doesn't necessarily reflect that nobody gives anything. It reflects that we don't have an estimate of giving that reflects you and how much you're giving. So all we can do from a planning purposes is say that there are 55 to 75 family members of this church that we have no record that they give anything. Next one. There are 43 members in that first step. These are family units. They're not individuals necessarily. Next step. 15 members, $500 to $1,000 annually. 56, $1,000 to $3,000 annually. 16, 2, $6,000 to $10,000 annually. And shockingly, there are 7 family units in the membership here that give a surprising amount of $10,000 plus per year. Now again, we're not asking you to sit down with these numbers and say, boy, am I behind, I feel embarrassed about this, I can't believe that this is what everybody else is doing. But if you're at that bottom number, that's 75 to 55, just give us an estimate of what you give, even if it's $5 a week, even if it's $5 a month. This is all for planning purposes. We don't know how much money we actually bring in on a yearly basis, we estimate. Karen Frank sits down with the Finance Committee at beginning for next year. She will tell us, I think this is how much we'll bring in next year. It's a think, I think. Based on last year's numbers and where we've been, I think this is what we'll do. So we would like to put a sharper pencil to that number so that we have a better way of planning. Okay, that's it for me.